So, welcome back to the 42284 podcast. We're here in beautiful downtown Sunfish, Kentucky. We've got Frank Toms with us today. Frank lives in a suburb of Sunfish, kind of right on the edge in Sunny Point.
I got a story I'd like to tell y'all about when I was growing up, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Well, before the road was through there, we didn't have no road. My dad didn't have no car. My grandpa, we didn't have no vehicles. And so what we do on Saturday, we walk out, my grandpa and me and my dad, we'd go to Caneyville. We walk out on 185 and just stand there till somebody come by. They pick you up. Then I don't care if they had to cram you in there, they'd stop and get you in there somehow. So we drive and go to Caneyville and go out there and sit. They had this, it's still there. It's in this big yard, there's a wall there, a concrete wall. And all them men would sit around there. I was 5 years old, 6, something like that. And they'd sit there and they'd whittle, and fox hunters talk. It'd be 15 of them. So one day we sitting there and this car pulled in, and this guy got out. It's Bill Monroe and String Beans.
Really?
Yeah, they pulled up.
Which they were just from down the road.
Rosine.
Yeah.
So they pulled up and they said, "Y'all want to hear us play?" And of course everybody said, "Yeah."
Sure,
I said, "Let's go down to Ball Diamond." So we all went down to Ball Diamond and they got up on this old wagon and they played, put on a show for us.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting there.
So was String Bean from Rosine too?
I don't know if he was from Rosine. He's
from down Gatlin or Gallatin, Tennessee, somewhere down there. But he had them old pants like he wore, and they pulled in there.
I've got a picture. I got a picture of my wife as a little girl sitting in Bill Monroe's lap in his car.
Yeah.
Do you know who Sam Bush is?
Huh?
Do you know who Sam Bush is? Yeah. So he's He's from the Bowling Green area.
Bowling Green
but
area.
His grandparents are buried in St. John's down there.
Yeah. Well, Bush. I guess akin to Bush.
Yeah, they're all there. This is all his family up here. But he had cancer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been 20 years ago now. And of course, those musicians, some of them don't make a lot of money. I mean, they get by. They're not rich like everybody.
Especially back then.
Yeah. And so he didn't have any insurance, and so he's fighting his cancer, and they were doing taking up money for him and stuff. And, Bill Monroe was pretty influential with him. He played with him a lot.
Yeah.
Bill Monroe gave him $100.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, then we could go out there.
That's a lot of money to him.
We'd sit there till time to come home. We'd look for somebody that's going down that way. You just get a ride and go back. But
do you remember the first vehicle you all had?
Yeah.
What was it?
Ooga.
Ooga.
Okay,
that's
had a
horn
sound,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ooga. There's a 29 something coupe Chevy. His brother in Ohio, he gave it to him. Well, I always thought he gave it to my grandpa till after even my daddy died. After I found the bill of sales, he gave it to daddy, but I always thought he gave it to my grandpa. But anyway, they went up to get it as a one-seater, 29 Chevy coupe. Had to raise that trunk up.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got that. I learned how to drive on that car, same as he did. I drove that thing everywhere. Of course, I'd drive. Daddy let me drive. When I got licensed, he wouldn't let me drive. But anyway, he had that. That's the first car. Then he had two 37 Chevys, 49 Chevy, 52 Chevy, Buicks, old.
Did you all farm?
No, Daddy worked. When I was born in 1941, Daddy's working on a farm right up there at Goble Mattingly, where that watershed's at.
Yeah.
Willis Brothers owned it, and Willis Brothers had a Ford dealership in Litchfield. And my dad worked for them on the farm, 50 cents a day in 41.
Really?
When I was born. He got 50 cents. He said, and I mean, they wanted you to stay from daylight to dark.
Yeah.
50 cents a day. But he worked.
That's why he couldn't afford that $500 farm.
Yeah. Yeah,
right then. I mean, that's 50 cents a day compared to $500.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of
Well, he worked for Kirby Woosley, was a sawmill man for years. He worked for him. My uncle did. My grandpa did. Dragging logs. So one day he said he was down there at Reedyville, about them big woods in there, and he said he was dragging logs in. He had a team of mules. He said he just got thinking. He just got mad and mad and mad. He said he drove them mules as far as he could go back, way back, tied them, and walked out and hitchhiked home. Went to Litchfield and got him a job up there, which he wouldn't make him at the lumber company.
Yeah.
And left them mules. Now, why he done that, I don't know.
I think probably made him mad that day.
He's mad.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the last thing you remember him doing before he got to where he couldn't work?
Dad's a carpenter.
Carpenter, okay.
Yeah, he done carpenter work.
So when you got out of school at Sunfish, you graduated, or Edmonson County, you
Yeah.
graduated from Brownsville.
Yeah.
What did you do? What did you go to work, or did you go to school?
I'll tell you
or-
my first job, Fort Knox. I got back from my senior trip from Florida, and Ari Vinson just bought this house of Stewart's up here. Ari, which is kin to the Vinsons. And I stayed with them at Fort Knox. Didn't have no car. Got out of high school, went up there, and I got my first job. They was tearing the old gold vault down at that time. They says wood structures, and so what they was doing, they was taking they get 4 guys, and I just one. I didn't know who them other 3. I got with 3, and we started. You got paid by what you tore and cleaned. You stacked it out, started from a roof, turned it down. So we started there, and I worked a week on that thing, and I mean, it was hard work.
So y'all were tearing it down and cleaning the lumber to
Cleaning
recycle
it, as
it.
we went and stacked it, we got paid. You know what I got paid that week? I said, I ain't doing this no longer. I said, get my money, 70-something cents.
Oh my goodness.
A week.
Oh.
I worked a week. Well, then I got another job at Fort Knox Exchange there as a Standard Oil service station, Chaffee Avenue. It's the main post where you go in at $1.32 an hour. And I
You was
worked there.
making big money at that point, wasn't you?
Yeah, I worked there I didn't have no car still yet. I hitchhiked home when I come home, and it was about 3 months. I finally got Crandon Wood had a car lot here in Brownsville. I bought a '54 Ford Crown Victoria. I wish I had it now.
Yeah.
I bought it from him for $4.95, and I didn't have it. I had $20. I said, Crandon. He said, well, I said, that's all I got. He said, well, who can you get to? Somebody got a sign for you. And I couldn't. I said, would you take Hillard Davis? Hillard was a preacher, and he said, yeah, I'll take Brother Davis. So I went up there. Daddy took me up there and got Hillard.
Was Hillard Winston's dad?
Uncle.
Uncle, okay.
Wilbur Davis.
Wilbur, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Anyway, so he come over and signed for me, and I got it. And he give that sign to his dad. Had a little old store up there at past Kyrock School at that time. Woods, his daddy. And you know, I'd go up there and pay him, and I paid him off and quick as I could. He never charged me 1 cent interest on that.
Really?
He give that note to his dad. I didn't pay 1 cent.
So was that Charlie's dad?
Huh?
It's probably Walton Wood was that the dad?
No, Walton was a different. He was a school man. Walton was. He was what was he? He taught school. Walton Woods did. And,
Well, what was the dad's name then?
I don't remember what his.
Well, that Wood store up there. I mean, that's some of Charlie Wood's bunch. I know.
Yeah, Crandon was.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. That still farms that up there.
But
Yeah, okay,
it's
I'm
right
with
there
you.
where the bank. They had the car lot right there where the bank is. The new bank.
The Bank Amundsen.
Yeah, back in County. It used to be a restaurant there, H&H restaurant.
I remember the old service station in the parking lot for the bank.
Yeah.
There by the
Well,
thrift
one
store.
time
Chevron.
Brother
It was a
had-
Chevron
Had
station.
3 pool halls. Back when I was growing up, that's where we went, pool hall.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So you was talking about them first cars. They's all Chevrolets back then.
Yeah.
I knowed your dad to be a Ford man.
Well,
When did he switch over?
he's had Buicks and all kinds.
Oh,
of
so he wasn't
models.
really
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
specific.
But anyway,
He always
I
had
worked
Rangers when
there
I
a
remember.
year at Fort Knox at that service station. I only served military personnel, and they had to show IDs when you got to pump the gas. And see, they'd come
They
in.
get a discount, or they not have to pay, or what?
No, they had a card. They had to pay.
Yeah.
But they had to show their ID to get gas. No, you didn't serve civilian, just military. Well, what they'd come in there is in uniform. We wouldn't ask them for But when they's out, we'd ask them. And they'd make them mad because we'd see them all the time. We'd see ID. They'd get so mad. And I found out lieutenants were the most smart alecky people they are. But anyway, I worked there. And then I went to construction in Louisville. Daddy was working up there, him and Everett Bratcher, and carpenters. I went to work on a school as a laborer, and I worked there. I worked on one building is 11 stories tall. I worked for Weir Construction, worked there, and then I got done there. Went to Sullivan Cozart Construction. I like construction, but it is a wintertime. It'd play out on you.
Sullivan Cozart's still in business.
Oh
aren't they?
yeah,
I think
Weir used to be. I don't know if it still is not, but it was
they're
not too
old,
many years
old
ago.
company.
There's a lot of people from down here worked up at Weir.
He's been everywhere. All B Springs, there's all kinds of Deckers, and everybody worked there. But anyway, I worked there, and then I got out there. I went to work at a lumber company, Home Supply Lumber Company. I'm still, I worked about a year there, and driving truck, delivering lumber.
And you're living up there, right?
I lived up there.
Had you met your wife yet?
Yeah, we was married.
Okay.
Yeah, I was married when I was working there.
Okay.
Yeah, I got married, yeah. Yeah, I got married. We lived in Louisville 6 years before I moved down here.
And then you went to work at Ford, right?
Well, in '63, I quit that lumber company, and boy, I was scared. It's the worst feeling you ever had in your life to get up a morning and you ain't got no job, and you got to look for a job.
Right.
And that looking is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I went to this guy to get that lumber company job. He was building a church or something. I said, "You don't know where I can get a job, do you?" And he said, "Well, maybe." And he sent me to that lumber company. I got on there. But anyway, at Ford's, when I hired in at Ford's, you're supposed to be 22 and married. I was only 21. But some reason I had 2 birth certificates. I don't know why, how I did. But my uncle, he worked there at Ford's, and he made one of them to make me 22. Okay, he fixed it up 22, and I was married.
Yeah.
So I got on, and first day of May in '63, I went to work at Ford's.
What did you do there?
Assembly line. And when I went in there, I said, I have never seen nothing like this in my life.
Amazing, I bet.
I had dug ditches and construction. I said, doing that assembly line work, it's something else. But
What did you make? What vehicle or?
we made, when I went there, we was making the LTDs. We was making a 63 and a half. You ever heard of one of them?
No.
It's a 63 and a half. It is a 2-door hardtop, but I just one he's making. He's making the others, all others. But they just started building that 63 and a half. It's a sharp-looking Ford at that time.
Ford done that, though, because the first Mustang was a 64 and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah. See, at model change, they had major model change. Every year is like changed everything. I started putting the regulators in at rolls of glass, and I was bruised. My hands, I couldn't close them, and I said, "This is awful." But I'd look around, I'd see them old men working over there. I say, "Surely, if they can do it, I can."
What do you remember? What you made an hour at that
It
point?
was probably. I'm trying to think if it was like close to $3 or a little over $3 higher. Yeah.
So you moved back down here
In '67.
and drive every day.
25 years.
25
85 miles one way.
So you retired up there.
So I retired.
What year did you retire?
92.
92.
If I
Man,
make
think of
it-
the different vehicles that came through there while you was there.
Right.
Oh, man. If I make it till September the 1st, I'll be retired from Ford's 32 years. I retired in 92. I got out 8 months early because I had some credits. 30 and out. That's what you got.
Yeah.
And when I went in there, I said, "I no way I'll ever make it 30 years." But I did. I don't know how I did either.
I didn't ask you. Well, how old are you now, Frank?
I'll be 83 in August.
83.
Yeah.
You used to get
83
around
now.
good and look good to be 83. I didn't figure. I was going to figure early 70s is what I was going to guess.
No, I'll be 83 in August.
So tell us about meeting your wife. How did you meet her?
Okay, look, I knew her all my life.
Yeah.
My grandpa's farm joined my father-in-law's farm.
Now she's Charles Mattingly's sister.
Herb Mattingly's
Yeah,
daughter.
and Dorothy's sister.
Dorothy, yeah. So they joined in farm. Dred Davis was my grandpa. He had a farm joined in. But I didn't. It wasn't like I just knew her.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what I done one time. I tell you this. She went to Caneyville. Okay, so I heard they was having a pie supper out there, and so we got some boys. I got about 5 boys, and she was with this other guy, and so we went. And we said we're gonna buy her pie, and we did. And she brought it and gave it to me when I bought it. But anyway, it wasn't like I just knew her.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd come down from Louisville, or from work from Fort Knox. I was working at Fort Knox and you think, well, where can I go to find somebody? I went with her one time. She said I was the first boy she ever went with.
Is that right?
Emerson Webb went with her sister, Roberta. I had Daddy's old car. He had a 34 Chevy, some kind. Anyway, I went with it, but it wasn't nothing. So I was in Fort Knox, and I come down, and I think it was before I got my car. But anyway, I got the car, and I thought, well, where can I find? So I went. I just say they lived a dirt road. I never did get hung up. Old Emerson Webb, every time he come, he had to be pulled out.
You was used to the roads over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's
He was
ruts.
familiar.
It's ruts that deep, but you had
Straddle
to know
'em.
how to do it to
Yeah.
get up there. I could go up there. So I just started, and one thing led to, one date and another, and then finally I just,
How long did y'all date for you?
about a year, a little over
About
a
a
year.
year.
Yeah.
Tell how you said that Terrell Woosley said the generation for y'all would find her.
Well, she's actually the only one up there I wasn't kin to. I was kin to all them Davises,
Right.
all of them, and just about it. But anyway, then we lived in Louisville. When we got married, I could get a furnished apartment for $15 a week, furnished.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, you can't touch it for that up there.
Yeah, my groceries usually about 10 a week, and I rented till I moved back down here. I lived on Cane Run Road down by the river. I lived downtown. I lived Southern Parkway. I lived right by Churchill Down for quite a while. I could see the jockey's back. It come around.
Really?
Yeah, from where I lived.
Did you ever know Guy Durbin over here?
Yeah.
He had the Gulf Station at Southern and I can't remember the cross street. It's still there.
Yeah.
But he had the Gulf. That's where he retired from, was the Gulf Station.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I lived there, and they started. What I was going to do is I was going to quit Ford's. I had 4 years in, about a little over 4. I said, I'm going to go to Bowling Green and find a job. I had a buddy live in Butler County, down 411. Me and him both. He said, we're going to quit. I moved down. I moved him down. And so we started driving. We didn't go to Bowling Green. We just drive one day. One day he'd. And the first thing you know is Northern Litchfield, moved out. And then that busing started up there. When they started busing, a bunch of them moved down. And I had I had Warren Miller over here. I was all kinds of.
Did you
And
all?
y'all rode together is what
I
you're
rode
saying?
with Estel Seaton for 13, 14 years. Wore out 3 Chevrolet wagons. We drove a Chevrolet wagon. What it was, he went to Ford dealer. You're going to buy him a Ford, and they act like it didn't so. He said, heck with it.
I'll go get a
And he bought 3 Chevrolet wagons. They'd get on us for riding in that Chevrolet wagon. They didn't care.
So did you all build that house over at Sunny Point?
What it was, I was down here one time from Louisville, and I come by that old place there. George Davis, Uncle George, the old man lived there. I stopped seeing him many a times. He lived there, and he sat there. I could still see him there. I'm sleeping in his room, and he slept in, basically. Well, anyway, I saw a sign for sale. It had a Louisville number, and I went up there, and I bought it for $3,500, and old man Noe Woodcock was alive then. Old Noe lived down. Noe was Jasper Woodcock's daddy. Old man lived on
Down
the
under
creek.
the hill by the creek.
Yeah, he lived down there. He said, boy, you've paid too much for that place. Old house was 3-room house.
Yeah.
He raised 10 kids there. Old man George Davis did. He wore that place plumb out. Anyway, I was going to make it a weekend home. I tore out the kitchen. I had 2 rooms. Had my fireplace, got me a gas stove. John A. brought me the tank. He sold that tank. gas up there, and I stayed on the weekend till we got to thinking about moving down. Then I said, I said, I'm not moving down unless I dig a well and I get water, because I grew up where water was awful. And I had a well dug. It went 72 feet. I hit water. Then I had to, I hired the roof boys, Wavy Roof.
Wavy.
And
Herschel.
No, Herschel he was doing it on out. Wavy was, and Bobby. Wavy and Bobby, I got them, and I furnished all the stuff. They tore the roof, everything, laid the blocks they had on, worked. They done it all. I mean, they didn't do the inside. They put, windows and everything. Door, $500. What they charged me.
You got a nice place there. You always have. I mean, keep it neat. And
$500 what they charged. Of course, I've added on since then. I've built.
So that 72 acres, is that just on the house side of the road, or is that the opposite side of the road?
It's on both sides.
Both sides of the road.
Both sides.
Okay.
But I bought 130 something from Oldest Moon on the oldest side. I mean, on the other, Norrie Woodcock, I got 130 something. I wound up almost 300 acres when I got done. Buying. I bought 5 different places around there. Now I don't have 1 inch of ground. I give it all away.
Yeah.
I give it all my kids. I give my house. I give everything. I give my house to my granddaughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's in the Army. She's been driving back and forth.
Now, which granddaughter?
She's Lisa Paul Hunt's Johnny's sister.
Johnny's sister.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the one that works at the corner market?
No, that's her older sister.
Okay,
Emily.
I didn't know there was 2 girls. I don't know your kids that well.
Yeah,
so.
no, you probably wouldn't. And then Sherry, my other daughter, lives right out there in that other house.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell a good story on his grandkids, on a granddaughter, and I think it's that granddaughter.
Abby?
Yeah, I think. Wasn't she the one that rode the preschool bus back when I drove it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah, little.
Yeah.
And so I was driving the bus.
I remember it now since you said that. I forgot.
Yeah. I was driving the bus, hadn't been driving too long.
Yeah.
Was sub-driving. And preschool bus, one day, the driver wasn't there, and I was going to run the preschool route, which I, all new to this. And something had happened. Usually there was a monitor. There wasn't no monitor. And so I think I drove that route with a monitor, come think of it. So anyway, however it worked out, I kind of knew where each kid went, but there was a lot of kids missing that day, maybe last day of preschool or something. So I'm dropping these kids off, and I get down, I got 1 kid left on there, and I'm thinking,
Where do you go?
Where does this kid go? I don't have a monitor.
Yeah.
And so I said, this little blonde-haired girl, I said,
That's her.
where do you get off the bus? And she said, my grandpa's.
Yeah.
And I thought, uh-oh. And I said, who's your grandpa? She said, Frank Tom's. I said, I know right where you're going.
Well, she started that preschool stuff. What bus did you drive?
That was the preschool bus on
She'd go to sleep usually every day coming home, and you had to get them off the bus.
Right.
I carry her if she didn't weigh, wasn't big as nothing. Carry her off and carry. We had 5 grandkids. See, I said them daughters moved out there. Y'all don't watch this. So we'd take care of them kids. I never changed a diaper or nothing of my own kids. But I've been paid back for everything that I never did do. I had Johnny and Abby and diapers at the same time. Alvetta went to work at Walmart, never worked in her life.
Just for diapers, discount on diapers.
Left me there. See, I was retired.
Right.
None of my grandkids never knows me working.
Yeah.
The oldest one's 30, and so none of them. But anyway, I had all them 5 there. And she'd go and leave me there with them, and I had to change diaper. About the same way when she passed away, I'd never washed. I didn't know nothing about a washing machine. She wouldn't let me in the kitchen. She said I was too nasty. But anyway, I've had to learn all that stuff.
Sure.
Well, you probably have got to enjoy your grandkids a little more than you did your kids.
Right there close to me.
Yeah.
I give Johnny. He got that corner up there. I give
Across
him
from Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I still claim rented out soybeans, but Johnny kept moving around. I said, Johnny, you don't want to put the soybeans? I said, whatever. So he He dug him a pond right in the center of that field, so I don't know what he's going to do.
Kids.
Fish.
Yeah,
He was going to fish.
I don't know what he's going to do, but anyway, I told the guy that rents it, just don't do it. So
Yeah. Well, you know, and you
Let
all
me say
probably-
this real. Johnny's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Johnny's going to be all right. Johnny's enough of a trader.
yeah,
I've done been around Johnny enough. Hey, Johnny's going to make it, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When they hard times hit, I don't know about the rest of them,
Yeah.
but Johnny will make it.
he
I
will.
promise you.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
As somebody who grew up at their grandparents' house a lot, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I had good parents. Don't get me wrong, but my grandparents, I look back in the times I think about as a kid were with my grandparents.
Well, this
so.
one that I give my house to, I give her the house and 20-something acres. She goes up there at the top of the hill of Lester, where Lester lived, and back around. And of course, I've been in there with deeds and stuff. You see me? I give all 4 kids almost 55 acres. I had it all surveyed, everything surveyed. Where Sherry lives, she's got 50-something. Well, I'd already give them for the house, but they got 55 close to 55 acres. Goes back. My oldest boy wanted on a creek, so I gave him down on the creek. And then a boy in California, which I better watch what I say. He might be one. I hope he come back, but I don't think
May
he
not ever
will.
come
But
back.
anyway, and then the other join, see where it all worked out, where they could get it.
Yeah. You still have the little CA Alice tractor?
Still
Where'd you get that at?
Denby Huff. Yeah.
It's got a Dr. C. Huff Company sticker
Yeah.
on it.
It has.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, the only one I've seen.
Well, we need a picture of that.
I've got a
we can
picture.
You need to get your wife to cut some.
Have you
Yes.
didn't take one, did you?
Yeah, I took a picture of it.
Yeah,
Did
you need
you?
to get her to cut some decals.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
other
hadn't thought
day,
of that.
other day I said, I'm gonna charge this battery up in this thing and started. I hadn't started for all winter long, and I said, well, maybe I'll just try it for I figured the battery would be down. That thing fired right up. Started. I got it and drove it around some. Pulled it back in there.
Brandon and I have tractor addictions. How many do you have now?
How many
Alice tractors?
that run or don't run?
Oh, well, I mean, that are together.
5.
I think I'm at 5 or 6 right now.
Johnny says that Blanton has got like,
Oh,
He said
he's
got
got to buy
20
a bunch
maybe.
in the last little bit.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That Jonathan, he ain't worth shooting in the foot.
Yeah,
though,
Johnson. Yeah.
so. I tell you what I did to him. We were at an auction down here, the roof guy. Ronnie Roofs.
I believe somebody told me about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny was down there that day.
Johnny was bidding on a tractor for Jonathan, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He couldn't be there.
Yeah, and so he ended up winning one of the tractors.
Yeah.
And I called him. I said, "You win that tractor?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I had my trailer. I said, I'll just haul it home for you."
Yeah.
And so we loaded it up. I took it up there to his house. Evelyn and Aaron, his wife and mother-in-law, were there.
Yeah.
I unloaded that tractor and parked it right in the back door. I mean, you couldn't got it any closer to the back door. And Evelyn come out. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "That Jonathan has bought another tractor, Evelyn. Would you believe that?" She said, "You're kidding." I said, "Yep, this is he." I said,
Yeah.
"He wanted me to bring it here."
Jeremy wouldn't throw somebody under
Yeah,
the bus.
and I
for
said,
nothing.
"How many tractors does he need, Evelyn?" She just rolling her eyes, you know. I called
Johnny's
Jonathan.
got-
He said, "Yeah, I'm going to kill you."
Johnny says he's got I don't know how many.
Yeah, the Alice tractors. They're getting affordable now. I mean, I've been
I
buying.
give
them.
Denby. I bought a new bush hog, 5-foot pull drag type bush hog and plows. I believe I give him a bush hog was about almost like 400 and something then. That was like in '67s when I bought it, and I paid 1,700 for the
tractor.
No, all of it.
For all of it.
Tractor's about 800 then. It wasn't about 8.
So how long were you married?
Almost 58 years.
58
57
years.
years. I'd have been 58 in November, and she died in July.
What year did she pass away?
It'll be 5 years.
Has it been that long already?
Don't seem like it's went 5 years.
Since I moved off.
July the 15th.
Since I moved to Western Kentucky,
Yeah,
it just I lose.
July the
track of people.
15th will be 5 years.
Yeah.
And then Dorothy didn't. 3 of them died in 1 year. Charles died, my wife died, and Dorothy.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
all
that.
3
Yeah.
of them died in 1 year.
Yeah.
Is Russell the only living out of your wife's bunch?
No, she's got 3 sisters still alive.
Okay.
3 sisters. One's in Florida, and 2's in Florida, and one's in Louisville, and Russell still
Okay.
lives over here.
Okay.
Well, her oldest sister did. She married Leonard Huberry.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about
We've talked about Leonard a few times
Yeah.
already on here.
Yeah.
I was terrified of him as a kid. And Winston, he just looked like an old gruff man to me. He'd come in the store and I'd hide.
You were like the kid on Home Alone with those guys.
Yeah. And so Winston had me milk with him 1 year while they were gone, and we become best of friends.
Yeah.
And I just recently heard he passed away.
Yeah.
And was kind of.
I went to funeral.
Well, I
then
did.
Walton went.
No, Jill Blankenship Davis
Yeah.
was the one told me, and I don't know that she knew that he had passed away.
What was
Well, I heard about it, and we found out, and Walton come over, and me and him went to the funeral home.
What was the story you told about the rooster cookie jar? Walton and Leonard.
Yeah, they were having Christmas over there. I don't know if you may have been there. I don't know if they would do that where they all bought presents. And
With Russell's. They used to
No,
do it
this
at
was up
Leonard's. Was it Leonard's? I can't.
I don't remember it.
I don't know.
I want to say it was at Russell's house.
Well, they used to do that at Russell's.
But it was all those siblings there.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like what's it called now?
Like
where
Dirty Santa.
Yeah, where you'd get a present, but somebody could take your present, and then
Yeah.
they would open another present. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a rooster cookie jar that it may have been Leonard's wife wanted it, but Leonard kept wanting it, and whoever's turn it was, Walton had talked everybody into taking it away from Leonard. And he got so mad. They didn't want it, but Leonard would get it back, when he gets to his and then Walton would go get it, or this to go get it.
I got to tell you one about Walton. One time in Walton, we lived in Louisville then. So we'd visit Walton. We was all up there. Charles was up there. They wanted to go rabbit hunting, Charles and Walton. And so I drove, and we went up to Uncle always down here. The one lived up the road. We went down there and hunted around. Walton had. And we got over there, and I said, let's stop and get something to drink. And they got them a pint of whiskey, I guess it was. Well, they was just Walton. He's jumping, and he said, "There it goes." And I don't think he ever did shoot it once, but he hollered, "There it goes." Well, anyway, him and Charles was having the best time in the world. I drove. I wasn't drinking. I said, I ain't gonna drink because I drove. So they had fun all day long. We stopped at Windyville, bootlegger, and I don't know. We went over at Lester's place, everywhere. We went around hunting everywhere. Well, we started back to Louisville, and I said, let's stop and get something else. We stopped and I got, I guess, beer, and I started drinking beer and whiskey, mixing it. And we got there, Walton. We was all three. I mean, Alvetta stayed out to Walton's house. And so we went out there to Walton live on Poplar Level Road. And that Walton, that dude, he straightened up better than anybody I ever seen. He speed shifted in that pickup truck he had. I've never seen him do that before. Anyway,
He lined right out.
I got over there. I got sick as a dog, and I laid out in the yard. I laid out in the yard. I was just sick. And old Walton, he just straightened up. When he went in the house, he couldn't hardly tell he'd even had a drop. But anyway, the next morning, I got up and went to work at Ford's. I like to die. I said, I'll never do that in my whole life, and I never did no more. I like to die. I said, if I make it through this day, and I mean, I could take a drink of water, and I was still. I was sick.
I'd say those LTDs are still on the road.
Lord, I was sick. Yeah, I was sick. But
Generated a recall.
Window regulator, crank it backwards that day.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh man, you said something earlier about when you were growing up, the water wasn't any good.
Well, we didn't have the well. We had a wet weather well. It go dry. We haul water. I haul water. Milk cans. I had milk cans, and haul water. We'd haul water to drink, and then my mom would go down. I used to take her clothes, a little old branch down there, a little creek below the house, and she'd washboard. They'd all bunch of them meet there and bring them back home, wash them. And never did have good water. And finally, after I'd left home, they dug a deep well and finally got water.
You think about, I was talking about this at work the other day. You think about how rural electrification and rural water has changed the way that we have lived in the last, last 50, 60 years. I remember.
Well, we don't know without it.
Right.
Our generation don't know without it.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, we had a well. And you couldn't stay in the bathtub too long. You were well dry.
Yeah, run out.
And so I remember them bringing water through this area and up through the Guilford Road, as you call it, the Crooked Road, and up in Sunny Point and stuff. And they
run it. They stopped at my house.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Merle, they didn't think he'd want to run it down there. Harold Stewart was the guy.
Yeah, he was water board.
So I went and talked to Harold, because I'd known Harold a long time. I said, could they going to run that water on down to my house? And he said, well, didn't know, but they did. Mm-hmm. Now I've got 4 meters. My son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, I've got 2 that I'll keep myself. And then that Vincent Todd's boy, he's right below me. He had to run it from my yard too. So I got 4 water meters. I got one to you right quick. My cousin Jimmy. Roy Lashley had been down to Florida, and he brought back a baby shark. Well, Jimmy,
alive?
I don't know. I don't know. Dead?
Yes,
whatever.
It makes the story
anyway,
better.
Jimmy
it was alive.
Been over to Bear Creek fishing, and Jimmy stopped in at the store. Johnny's up here at the store. He said, y'all know what kind of this fish? He knew what it was. He said, y'all, I'm down the creek and I just caught it. And they looked at it and they said, that looks like a shark. He said, well, I don't know. He said, I don't know. I don't really know. He said, I caught it there in the creek. He said, I don't know what it is. Well, so he went on. Well, they called the game warden. And Sammy Renfro hunted him down. And Sammy said, it's against the law to have a shark in Kentucky. anyway, that's a good one.
Are you kin to Ray Ashley, the electrician?
Yeah, that's my mom's brother. He's my uncle.
Ray is?
Yes.
So you and Jamie are first
cousins. Yes.
I didn't realize that. So.
Hold on just a second.
Oh, I see it
now.
now.
I
see it now, yeah. Put the hat back on. Ray told me one time, and I ain't going to mention this fella's name.
Ray's got thousands of stories.
He is
funny.
funny.
He is
on here.
He's great.
Funny.
He's funny.
He told me, said this guy, and I'll tell you after this is over who it was. So this guy said, so what? He said, Ray run. He said, I'm going to say his name's Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, what you been into? He said, been hunting. Oh, yeah, where you been hunting at? Said they took him down Nolan Creek hunting. He said, you see anything? He said, yeah. He said, I saw deer and elk and turkey and bear, lions and tigers, and just went through all this stuff. And Ray said, now Jimmy, now be honest with Jimmy. Said, you're right. I lied. I didn't see any tigers.
Well, I do think I remember a story about a certain guy in the county went to one of those exotic animal sales and bought a baby bear, and I think Fish and Wildlife found out about it, come and confiscated it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, Sammy tracked him down. You remember Sammy Renfro?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Hey, I rode with Sammy. He worked at Ford's. When he's deputy. Mm-hmm. Hey, one time, he was driving and he's behind the car up there about E-Town, and one of them reached over and turned the siren on. Is behind that guy. Well, that guy pulled over. Lord, he cussed Sammy out. It was awful. And another time, little Roy Vincent. You ever know little Roy?
Yes, I knew Roy.
Little Roy, he worked up there. We all rode together. Mm-hmm. Sammy for years. Well, Sammy pulled somebody over coming home, but he didn't have no pencil. He couldn't write. He couldn't get him no ticket. Old Sonny Bruner lived up above Charles, and he's on the lake when Sammy went over on the lake. He went over there, and he saw he was on the bank fishing, and so he saw Sammy out coming, and so he said he started running. Well, he said Sammy come up to the bank. There's a path down. He said he run. Sammy got right behind him. Said he run that far as he could go. He got tired, and he pulled out his fishing license. So he knew Sammy. See, Sammy didn't know who it was. He pulled him out, and he said, "That's what you looking for?" He said, "You son of a." He's running all the way down.
Frank, we sure are glad you come down and done
Hey,
this.
I'm enjoyed it.
Yeah, the only regret I have is I didn't know you as well as I do now, younger in life.
Yeah.
I mean, I always drove past and see you out, and Dad, that's Frank Thomas's house. But
Yeah,
I was in my
been there
20s
a
before
long
Frank and
time.
I ever really.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah.
Are we out? Over?